We're good.
Recording in progress.
Yeah. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the Wednesday, March 4th Town Board meeting to order. Councilman Zaleski, can you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome, everyone. For my supervisor's report, I just want to let everybody in the public know that me and the team have been working very hard to try to secure some funding for the much-needed infrastructure improvements that we have in the town. Today we had a meeting with Senator Schumer's office regarding grant money that we're trying to get for our highway barn. And additionally, we are at the end stages of preparing our right to farm law, which will be on next week's agenda for a discussion item. And I thank Rich Baum, our town attorney, for working on that. All right, with that, we're to citizens' comments.
Josh Druckman.
Hi everybody, Josh Druckman, 23 resident of the town of Fallsburg, pardon my hat head. I was just wondering if anybody's driven by Brickman Road by Scott's Bungalow Colony and have seen the massive construction that's going on, the addition to this bungalow right on the road that's clearly way more than twice the size of the existing bungalow, that seems to have a livable basement. As far as I know, maybe I'm wrong and I apologize in advance, but as far as I know, the zoning board hasn't approved this, there's no building permit. I'm wondering why it's been able to get to the point that it's at. I mean, the roof's ready to go on, it's ready to be sheathed. It's right on the road, it's basically in the road. This reminds me of those barracks that were built right on Old Falls. When after the first one was built, you know, that completely, in my opinion, destroys the most iconic, natural, scenic view that we have in this town. I was talking to a building inspector, and I said, how are they allowed to build this building right on Old Falls? And he said, oh, they weren't, but they snuck it in, you know? This building, the Scott's Bungalow Colony building, it's right on the road. It's not like it's on a back road. It's on one of the main thoroughfares of the entire town that we all drive by several times a week. So, you know, if we can all debate like the future of the town and what's you know, where it's going, but I don't think anybody can debate the fact that if there are rules, they should be followed. Because if they're not, then why do we have the rules? Why do we have the building department? Why do we have the zoning board? Why do we have the town board? Anybody can just do whatever they want. So could we please look into this and get the town, the building department to issue a stop work order on this addition? And again, if I'm wrong, then I apologize, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. I'm sure we've all driven by it like a million times. Thank you.
So Jen, please remind me tomorrow. We'll have the building department take a look. And Josh, I'll get back to you on this by the end of the week.
Thank you.
You got it.
I don't have anybody else.
Anybody online?
There are people online, but nobody has their hand up to speak.
Nobody else for public comment? Okay, with that, we'll get into the agenda. Item 1, motion to approve town board minutes dated 2/25/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 2, motion to approve warrant 02B26 dated 2/25/26 in the amount of $347,453.36.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Item 3, motion to approve warrant 02C26 dated 2/26/26 in the amount of $275,564.10.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll include myself in this one.
Motion passes. Number 4, motion to approve employment of Ally Wiener as a part-time dispatcher with an hourly rate of $25 an hour, effective 2/16/26. We have a motion, do we have a second? Okay. Motion. What? Item 5, motion to set a time and date for a joint public hearing with the Village of Woodridge for the sheriff annexation discussion on March 17th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the Town of Fallsburg Senior Center located at 12 Laurel Avenue. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passed.
I'm gonna recuse myself, town attorney's, guidance. My house is directly adjoining one of these properties, therefore whether I'm for it or against it, it would be best that I recuse myself.
Okay. We have a vote?
You did vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Item 6, motion to schedule a public hearing for a zone change of 25 Jacobson Road, Hurleyville, SBL 32A-1-20, from Ag to HR for 3/18/26 at 6 p.m.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
I'm a no.
We'll note that. One no. Item 7, resolution number 14 of 2026, approving a memorandum of agreement between the Town of Fallsburg and Refuah Health Center Incorporated in connection with demolition at 36 Laurel Avenue and the Restore New York grant in form satisfactory to the town attorney.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Number 8, resolution number 15 of 2026, authorizing funding commitment required by DASNY in connection with the reconstruction of the locker rooms and for the purchase and installation of lockers and filing shelves for the Fallsburg Police Department, SAM project ID 29753.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, next we have a discussion item. Discussion on the zoning change for 21-1-11 Hasbrook Drive, D to HR, presented by Evan Calder.
Good evening. This is the third time I've been before this board. The first time was when Mike was chairman, and I think the proposed zoning change at that time was favorably viewed. Came back the second time, Richard raised some issues, and we reviewed the Town of Fallsburg zoning code so that we can clarify what is required to be done for a zoning change. Just to rehash my prior discussions, I want to provide everybody with a map. This map shows the property that we would ask to be rezoned, circled, and it shows it to be adjacent to an HR district and opposite a residential district. And basically, we seek a zoning change from business to hamlet residence. And the reason for the change is that, having been in Woodburn for 60 years, there's been no new construction in a different location of any business or commercial property that I can recall. There have been a number of structures that have been replaced, but no new structures. So this property, which sticks out like a sore thumb as a business district, it basically is not usable for any practical purpose. Personally, if Woodburn was a thriving community, this probably would have been one of the few remaining business district vacant properties and would probably be worth a lot more than in an HR district. But Woodburn being what it is, sadly, there's nothing new there. Because it is adjacent to an HR district, this would not be spot zoning. And in fact, the county has this listed as a residential property. The property is roughly 600 feet long, 4.2 acres, because of a steep hill behind the property. In other words, it's flat and level along the road, steep grade uphill, and because of that, of the 4.2 acres, only about 2.5 acres is usable. In an Hamlet residential district, you can build a single residence for 12,500 square feet. a duplex for 25,000 square feet, and 3 or more apartments for 37,500 square feet. I've estimated that on 2.5 acres, an acre being 43,000 square feet, that you have roughly 107,000 square feet of buildable property, which would basically equal about 9 buildable residences, whether it's a single family, 2-family, or 3-family or more. So the amount of additional residential capacity is limited. It's on Hasbrook Drive, which is a low maintenance road. There's very few cars going down Hasbrook Drive. It's next to other districts which are residential or HR. I'm sure the neighbors who have the right to build residence are not going to want a business district opposite them. So basically, I'm asking this board to refer this matter to the planning board for its opinion. The town zoning code requires that if you have any interest in a zoning change, that it's referred to the planning board for their recommendation. And the criteria, I have the town code here. I would read this to you, but I had cataracts done. I can see perfectly except close up, and I keep forgetting my glasses. So this is the town zoning code. I've highlighted the key portions which set forth the criteria for the planning board to review the zoning change and make a recommendation. I would read it to you, but I probably can't read it too well these days. Sorry about that. So once again, what I'm asking this board to do is at least favorably consider this zoning change and refer it to the planning board for their opinion. They will review everything, including all the criteria that's outlined in the town zoning code. Then it comes back here for a public hearing, and then you make a determination after a public hearing. So that's my application. And I think the last time we were here, there was some question of how much of this is buildable, how many units to be built on it. My calculation is 43,000 square feet, 2.5 acres, that's 110,000 square feet. So you're talking about 9 buildable units at the most.
What is your client, had a discussion what they're looking to do?
My best guess is that they probably want to build some residences. I don't know if they're thinking about single family. Right now, they really have no concrete plans as to what they're going to do. But because of the topography, and this is, anybody could just drive down that road, take a look at the hill, and you can see that only the frontage and a certain limited amount of the frontage, maybe 100 yards at most, is buildable.
Ivan, I just have to say, someone who, your client, has to know what he wants to do with it. He's not going through this process if he didn't know, I'm gonna build 6 houses.
He doesn't know, he's not a builder. He's in fact, he owns the property adjacent to it, which is a residence. In fact, there's a building that I was one time thinking about as an office many years ago, and it was in disrepair, and he totally rebuilt it. So if you're coming down 42, and you make your left-hand turn onto Hasbrook Drive, my client owns the really nice house on the left, which is surrounded by a fence which he put in. So he's not gonna do anything that's gonna ruin his house, in which he has a lot of money in. But once again, the odds are that he's gonna wanna build houses, and he can't build more than 9 houses. And that's all you can do there. I mean, you're not gonna, it's not, if it's changed to HR district, you're limited to 12,000 square feet in one format or another. So you got a maximum of 9 houses to build. So whether he's gonna market it to someone else, or whether he's gonna keep it for himself. But right now, what is that property worth? It's only, you can't build a residence on a house in a business district. And if you think about it, once again, if you drive down from 52 on to 42, you have every single house on that road is a residence. The only thing that's a little bit different is Gem, which is the gunsmith, and that's basically a residence. And from Gem, every single house on that side of the road is a residence, and when you turn into Hasbrook Drive, You got the first house on the left, my client, and that's a residence also. So right now, he's got a piece of property that's not worth anything.
So, Rich, please keep me within the guardrails if I say anything that is not.
I'll do my best.
Right, but what I think Arnold is, and I kind of feel the same way, I am listening to your argument, and I think there's some validity to it, but I would be a lot more comfortable knowing what the plan is for this property. I feel for him that the piece of property is, zoned the way it is, and he wants to build houses, but I would feel more comfortable with knowing what his plan is.
But his plan is irrelevant because what the property is limited, and in other words, he can't build based upon an estimated 2.5 acres proper use for building. He can't build more than 9 houses.
But
So,
right now,
there's
he
a
can't,
limit.
but right now, he can't do anything with the way it's zoned, and if this board is gonna be flexible to something that we normally don't like doing, which is changing zoning, at least I don't feel comfortable. I wanna make sure that it's good for the hamlet, and housing is definitely needed, so I'm certainly open, but I would like to know a little bit. If he's just gonna try to get approval and flip it, then, I don't feel it.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with having somebody
Because I want-
maximize the value
I
of this
think I
property?
can cut to the chase. You can safely assume the absolute worst case scenario, which is he builds the maximum number
So that,
allowed by the.
that's what I
square
think Arnold is
foot.
probably a little uncomfortable with.
That would be.
Show me a plan
It's-
That's, all right,
houses,
yeah, he has no plan, but let me suggest this.
So our responsibility, at least I could speak for myself, my responsibility is for the benefit of the town and the community, not for the developer making as much as he can make. And if we're gonna be flexible to change the zoning, I wanna feel comfortable that it's something that's not only aesthetically pleasing, but is also something that would be a good fit for Woodburn. So if we're gonna be flexible, I would think
Well,
that,
why don't you take the easy route, which is refer this matter to the planning board, which is designed to review all of the criteria which the zoning statute provides, and see what their recommendation is, and they're the ones who are best able and experienced with staff. You got a planner, you have an engineer, and they're the ones who are best able to do this. So the easy solution is refer this to the planning board, see what their recommendation is. That will probably take about 2-3 months, and I can get more information for my client.
62 days unless you waive it.
Yeah. So that's the way, and that takes, to be practical, that takes you off the
Right, the funny thing is, I remember years ago, when I was on the board, that you came with this, and I think I said the same thing. Just show me what you want to do. I don't believe he doesn't know what he wants to do. He either wants to flip it, or he wants to build. Show me what you want to build. Before we even go through
But once
the
again-
planning board
once
and
again-
back,
But it's
why
like,
waste time?
Arnold, there's only.
Why waste time?
If you can't build more than 9 units.
Show me 9 houses that they want to put up.
He's not, you want him to spend money on an engineer to show you a plan that's gonna cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000?
Yes.
And then you might not get the zoning change?
So let me-
Yes.
That-
Yes, that's what I.
that's-
so put yourself in my seat, or Arnold, or any of our seats. Say we go along with it and say it's okay, and then they build a bunch of crap there, and now it's on us. Why do you like, I'm just saying, why did the board let them do this?
Well, first of all.
It's a business, developing land is a business.
You-
If you're not willing to spend a little money to try to develop it, then,
But you're limited in what you can build. First of all, the town has an ordinance requiring a minimum size for a residential dwelling, I think it's 12 to 1,500 feet.
Right.
So he's not gonna build crap, number one. Why would he build crap, where his house is next to it? That's argument number 2. Number 3, you're asking him to spend a lot of money for something that may never happen. And once again, the planning board wouldn't even do that. And anything that has to be done has to be constructed to code with proper separation from other houses.
I understand all of that, but he purchased a piece of property that's not zoned for what he wants to do, and he's coming to our board asking us to change the zoning to accommodate him, and we're asking him to accommodate us by giving us a little bit more than,
9 houses.
I mean, so this is the third time you're presenting this, the 2 previous times that you presented this pretty much the same presentation, it didn't go anywhere simply because we had all these outstanding questions. to your point regarding the referral to the planning board, usually if you read that report, that Delaware Engineering or, the planner puts together, it's designed to find reasons why it would be advantageous to make the change, and it's hard for them to make that determination if they don't know what the possible, uses are gonna be. And for that matter, if you're specifically looking to use it for, residential purposes only, and you've exhausted all other possibilities, then you may have a very good case for a use variance,
Well, the last place I wanna go is before the zoning board of appeals. I can tell you flat out, and a use variance is
The highest threshold.
It's extremely difficult to do, and I've had two experiences before the ZBA, which I've had, I'm gonna vent now anyway, since I'm in front of this town board. I've been in front of the ZBA on two matters in which clients of mine wanted to remove old, ratty bungalows and build a brand new house. No opposition from anyone in the development or in the public, and they denied it 3-2. So you got a couple of people on that board that's no, and they don't understand what ZBA is for. And I've been so frustrated with that board, it's the last place I want to go to. I'll send my associate, let her get beaten up next time. So, but really, what is the problem in referring this to the planning board, at least getting their recommendation? And by that time, I should probably come back here with a firm plan. Although I don't think a plan is necessary, like Richard said, your worst case scenario is 9 houses.
I personally want to see what's going to go on that property. Maybe I'm not comfortable with it.
You
Maybe
still,
it's
it's not a matter,
pleasing.
it's not a matter of right to make a change, and if you do make a change, they're still obligated to go before the planning board, just because the zone is the zone, it still requires planning board approval. But you will have another shot.
There's the
So
same
educate
conversation.
the board on the process. We say,
Here's the process.
we send it to the planning board, the
For
planning board
approval.
comes up with something, we're not comfortable with it, we say no at that point?
You can say no at any point. Zoning changes are not a matter of right. Zoning changes are by petition. Our code says if the board wants to make a zoning change or an applicant wants to make a zoning change, the board, here's what the application is, and upon receipt of the application, refers it to the planning board for a recommendation report. The recommendation report has to come to the board within 62 days. If it doesn't come to the board within 62 days, the board can do whatever it wants without the report. If the report comes, the board looks at the report, can accept the report, modify the report, do it, don't do it. You don't have to do it just because it comes back.
No, but it's just a report.
But there's another safeguard too. I might be putting my client into an expensive trap, but assuming you follow the procedure that Richard suggested, and it comes back to this board, and this board, let's say the planning board approves the zone change, or recommends the zone change, and let's say you basically say, okay, we're gonna follow the planning board's view, subject to a public hearing. Public hearing is then held, you can still reject it after a public hearing. So there are multiple safeguards that you have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just putting the cart before the horse. If we're not comfortable, I don't really care what the planning board says. If I'm not comfortable with what you're gonna do, why would I even waste your time going to a planning board? What are they gonna do?
And the bottom line is, from my perspective, say we took your path, sent it to the planning board, they send it back, I'm still gonna wanna see what it is at that point. So they might jump through that hurdle, but I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable approving something without seeing what it's gonna look like, because it doesn't have to be there. And I'm not doing that just to make them run around and spend money.
So you're basically saying that before you want to see a zoning change from commercial or business to residential, you want to see a plot plan and an engineering report?
I wanna have a basic idea.
That's really putting the cart before the horse also.
If I'm gonna change, this is just me speaking, I don't speak for anybody else here. If somebody's asking you to change something for their benefit, after they purchased a piece of property that wasn't set up for what they wanna do, I wanna have a very good idea of what it's gonna look like when it's done. Because if not, I'm at fault for approving it, if it's something that's not gonna be good for, or, I want it to be a benefit to the hamlet before I just give my okay.
You see, also, going before the ZBA, it's self-imposed to some extent,
Yes, it is.
and also it's a significant change, which alone is gonna be the basis for this ZBA to say.
Forget about the ZBA, I'm not,
Okay, all right,
forget
so
about the
I have no,
ZBA.
I have no remedy.
I'm just saying, the bottom line is, you said that he might flip it, so if he's flipping it to make money, and it's a business transaction. And what we're saying is if he is looking to do this business transaction, he's gonna have to spend a little bit more money up front, or he's not gonna have the opportunity to make that money because we're not comfortable with it.
Well, what's wrong with the property owner even flipping it and making money?
There's nothing wrong with
when you got a
that.
So.
There's nothing, but whoever buys a property, I want them to have to adhere to whatever we're comfortable with doing, because we don't have to allow it. So why should we allow something that is gonna, and I'm not saying it's gonna be, but say he builds something that's just not looked at as a positive for the community, then it's on us.
Oh, so if the place, if he can't use the property now because there's no commercial use in Woodburn, and he can't build on it, then the property is practically worthless, and.
He could build on it.
Should he pay taxes on it?
He could build on it, he could build a
But
commercial, he
there's no
could,
market for commercial in.
I mean, that's-
You know
You
that.
say this.
that's a debatable
Well, I
argument.
know that. I
Pull
know.
up
Stores
the
are
bulk
filled.
use table for business and come up with all the different uses, from bed and breakfast to all the different.
Really?
There are things that you can do, you're gonna have to exhaust all those possibilities.
I'm speaking for myself, I'm comfortable going along with it, I just need a little bit more information, that's just me speaking, and, you know,
But you created thousands of dollars, what, all right, to what extent do you want a plan? I mean, do you want, let's.
I don't need a full set of it.
Let's be realistic, do you want engineering plans, do you want an architect to design it, an engineer to design it?
Myself,
Or do you just want my client to say?
I wanna see houses set up on that piece of property.
how they're gonna, where they're gonna be positioned, what they're gonna
Right,
look
so I
like.
could formulate in my mind what that's gonna look like.
So you're putting my client into paying thousands of
I
dollars
don't
for
care
something
about-
that this board may not approve.
I'm here, and that's what I wanna see. What it costs somebody is not my
Are you doing
concern.
this, are you doing another application for zoning change that they?
That is what I'd
that they
like
have
to see
show-
if-
That they
if
have
we're
to
gonna
show
give you-
all the
if we're
plans
gonna
that
put
they're
you
gonna
in a
build in
zone.
advance?
Anybody that comes to me for a zoning change, I just wanna have an idea what they're gonna do there.
Well, I've already told you that I'm limited in 9 units. What more?
No, I know what you're limited to, it doesn't mean that's gonna happen. And we give the
Well,
zoning,
maybe if you showed us-
we give a zoning change, he can do whatever he wants.
There's nothing else he can do with that
He
property.
could do whatever he wants, he could flip it.
We wanna
I
have
wanna know
control.
what's gonna go on that property, what it's gonna look
He
like,
owns the adjacent.
and maybe he's gonna sell his house too.
The adjacent is a house and a lot, his own
Oh,
lot.
that's his own. So
Right.
technically, he can
That's
he
what
could
I'm
join
saying.
the parcels to one and have a massive.
That's a building zone
recreational-
also. That's in the business zone also, even though
Right,
it's a
but he's
residence.
using it for residential. I mean, talk about quiet enjoyment of your property, that, you know, he can really turn that property into something really nice for himself. But it sounds like there's a
Yeah.
business in mind here, you know, he's
Well,
looking to.
Well,
Make some money.
the adjacent property is his own house and lot. I mean, it's not a buildable lot for commercial purposes. In other words, he doesn't have enough land there, and he doesn't intend to build houses on the same lot that he has, because he would have to subdivide that. It's totally, I can show you a map of his private house.
No, I know what you're talking about. What I'm saying is that he can use the property for himself, for his own recreational purposes. He doesn't necessarily have to sell it or build
You
it.
know, well,
How long has he owned this piece of property? Yeah.
I don't have the deed.
Like,
I
guesstimate.
would say he probably owned it for about 15 years. He's had it for quite a while. But
I'm not opposed to going along with what you're asking, I just wanna have a little bit more comfort in making my decision. I think you know me, I'm not trying to give you a runaround or have him spend money that's a waste. I'm comfortable saying yes if I saw something that made me feel comfortable with the project.
well, okay. I'll speak to him and see what he wants to do. But, okay, I thought this was, my own feeling was that this is 9 units. I'm not sure.
But without even knowing, you said there's steep slopes, without even knowing what the property looks like, how are those 9
Well,
units gonna be
the-
positioned? Are they gonna be on the road where, I mean, I just,
Well, the application that I submitted does have, and I didn't bring that with me, it does have a topo that would show you what the.
I'm looking for the most, don't have to spend a lot of money, I'm looking for a very basic plan of
Well,
what.
Arnold wants more. Arnold wants.
I think Arnold would be
engineers-
comfortable with-
Arnold wants my client to spend thousands of dollars for an engineer's,
If I was gonna build 9 houses, you're talking chump change.
I mean,
You're
Well,
really,
right now, he's just thinking about the future, he's not ready to build now.
So come when you're ready to build.
Bottom line is, if he's building 9 houses, he's probably gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, and I'm not counting his money. He might have to spend a couple thousand up front to get this board to feel comfortable with it.
Okay.
He spent money on you, you got the best, I know that, but he spent money on
I'm
you.
not doing very well. so
I think you're
far.
doing great. Anybody else would have said, forget about it, no.
Okay, gentlemen, take care.
All right, that's the last item we have. With that, can I get any issues for executive session for anyone?
No.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? All right, thank you.